felt it the instant his fingers slipped from mine. At first, I told myself Ethan had only stepped out for a breath of air, maybe to grab another drink or greet someone outside. But the tension in his shoulders, the rigid line of his jaw, the way his eyes deliberately avoided mine, it all told a different story. And before I could even process it, he was gone. Just like that, out the door, no explanation, no backward glance. I stood motionless in the center of a crowded living room, laughter and music blurring together around me. The floor felt unsteady beneath my feet. Then came the fear, sharp and cold. Because when a husband leaves a party without a word, without anger or theatrics, just silence, it usually means he's already certain of something. Until that night, Ethan and I had been married 8 years. 8 solid years, or so I believed. We weren't perfect, but who is? We had our rhythms, morning coffee together, our shared playlist during long drives, lazy Sunday breakfasts spent half arguing over crossword clues. I thought we were unshakable. But lately, a quiet distance had crept in. Ethan had grown more withdrawn, watchful. Not cruel, just unreachable in ways I couldn't name. So when our friend Jenna invited us to her birthday party, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe a night out could pull us out of the haze that had settled between us. I spent extra time getting ready. Choosing the dress he once said made me look untouchably elegant. I wanted him to look at me that way again. The house buzzed with energy. Music pulsing, voices spilling out onto the deck, the smell of grilled food in the air. Friends hugged us, laughed, caught up. For a while, it felt like old times. Ethan smiled, even teased Jenna about her karaoke obsession. And then, just as easily, he slipped into the kitchen. When he came back, something in him had shifted. It was subtle, almost invisible, but I felt it immediately. A chill that sliced through the noise. His eyes swept across the room, paused on me, then moved past to someone else. Daniel, the mistake, the regret I'd been trying to bury for months. We hadn't spoken in weeks, not since I ended things. Seeing him here, in the same room as my husband, felt like 2 separate worlds crashing together. Daniel caught my eye and gave a faint nod, a silent acknowledgement of what we'd shared. That tiny gesture was enough. Ethan saw it. I knew by the tightening of his body, the small tremor in his hand before he set his drink down. No words were exchanged. None were needed. Then he left. I stood frozen, unable to follow. My body refused to move, my mind spiraling through excuses that already sounded hollow. By the time I reached the door, his car was gone. The drive home felt endless. Each red light another reminder of what I'd done. My phone buzzed with messages from friends checking in, Jenna asking if everything was okay, but not a word from Ethan. When I finally arrived, his car was already in the driveway. The porch light glowed. Inside, the house was still. Ethan sat at the kitchen table, still in his jacket, a half-empty glass of whiskey in front of him. He didn't look up when I entered. "Ethan?" I whispered, voice trembling. "Can we talk?" He sat silent for a long time before speaking. "Who is he?" My heart thudded painfully. "What do you mean?" I tried to laugh, to deflect. "Don't," he said quietly. "Don't insult me, Claire." I swallowed hard. "It's nothing. It's over." His head lifted then, his eyes cutting into mine. So there was something. The silence that followed was worse than shouting. He didn't yell or throw things. He didn't accuse me of ruining our marriage. He just looked at me, every ounce of pain sitting in his gaze. Somehow that was worse. I wanted to explain, to tell him it hadn't meant anything, that I'd been lost, stupid, that it had ended before it ever began. But the words stuck in my throat. "How long?" he asked. "3 months," I whispered. He closed his eyes, as if the number itself was unbearable. "Was it worth it?" "No," I choked. Tears blurred my vision. "It was the biggest mistake of my life." "Funny," he murmured. "I thought I was the biggest mistake of yours." After that, cracks spread quietly through our life. We spoke less each day. He moved into the guest room. The sounds of our home became strange. Doors closing softly, silverware scraping against plates, silence swallowing everything. I tried to apologize, to tell him Daniel had been nothing more than a distraction, a meaningless escape from stress and loneliness. But Ethan never softened. "It wasn't meaningless to me," he said one night, his voice raw. "Because now, every time you smiled at me, every time you touched me, I wonder if you were thinking of him. That's the kind of betrayal that stays. The kind you can't wash away." A week later, Ethan came home late. He looked pale, hollow. "I saw him today," he said. "Daniel?" I asked. He nodded. No guilt, no shame, just this smug look, like he'd taken something from me. I reached for him, but he stepped back. "Do you understand what that does to me, Claire? Knowing another man held parts of you that were supposed to be mine." His voice broke, and for the first time, I saw tears in his eyes. "I want to fix this," I whispered. "Tell me how." He didn't answer, but I knew that silence was the decision. The next morning, Ethan left a letter on the kitchen counter. No anger, no accusations, just truth. "I love you, but I can't unsee what I saw. I can't unknow what I know. I've been moving through this house like a ghost, and now I realize it's because we're already gone. I don't hate you, Claire, but I can't trust you. And without trust, love is just pain. He packed quietly. No shouting, no slammed doors. Just the sound of zippers, shuffling bags, and the soft click of the front door. And then he was gone. The party that was supposed to bring us closer had marked our end. I replayed it endlessly. The slip of his hand, the look in his eyes as everything shattered. I didn't lose him in a storm of rage, but in silence. And that silence was deafening. Every night, I sat at the same kitchen table where he'd confronted me, staring at the empty chair across from mine. The house still smelled like him, though it faded more each day. People say time heals, but some wounds never close. They just scar, leaving you to trace the outline of what you destroyed. I once believed betrayal was a single moment, a mistake that could be buried. But Ethan taught me otherwise in the quiet way he left. Betrayal isn't about what you did, it's about what you broke.